New Year's Eve was never exciting for me. I didn't like crowds, loud music, or forced celebrations. For me, the night of December 31st was just another reminder that time was moving forward, whether I was ready or not. That year, I was alone in my apartment, a small rented place at the end of a long, narrow corridor in an old building. Most tenants had gone home to their families or out to celebrate. By evening, the building felt hollow, like it was holding its breath. I ordered food around 8 p.m., closed the curtains, and turned on the TV just for background noise. Fireworks had already started outside, distant pops echoing through the cold air. I remember checking the time again and again, not because I was excited, but because the silence between each explosion felt uncomfortable. Around 10:30 p.m., the lights in the corridor outside flickered. I noticed that because a thin line of light under my door blinked once, then steadied. I didn't think much of it. Old wiring, old building. Still, I locked my door. At 11:12 p.m., someone knocked. 3 soft knocks. I froze. No one ever visited me that late. I didn't answer. After a few seconds, the knocking stopped. I waited, heart racing, listening for footsteps. Nothing. I told myself it was probably a drunk neighbor at the wrong door. At 11:27 p.m., the knocking came again. This time it was slower, heavier. I walked quietly to the door and looked through the peephole. The corridor lights were on, but the hallway was empty. No shadows, no movement. I stepped back, confused. That's when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Don't open the door." My chest tightened. I typed back immediately, asking who it was. No reply. At 11:40 p.m., the corridor lights went out completely. The TV screen flickered, then went black. My apartment light stayed on, but the silence outside became unbearable. No footsteps, no voices, not even the hum of electricity. Then I heard it, breathing, not inside my apartment, right outside the door. Slow, steady, too close. I backed away until my legs hit the couch. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat felt locked. I grabbed my phone, hands shaking, and turned on the camera, pressing it against my chest like it could protect me. A voice whispered through the door. "Just checking in, it's almost time." It was calm, almost friendly. I asked, my voice barely working, "Who are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice replied, softer now, "You'll see when the year ends." The breathing stopped. Footsteps moved away, slow and deliberate, fading into the darkness of the corridor. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, lights on, knife from the kitchen resting on my lap, staring at the door. Every sound made my heart jump. The ticking of the wall clock felt louder with every passing minute. At 11:58 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Another message from the same unknown number. 2 minutes. I typed back, demanding answers. No reply. Then the clock struck midnight. Fireworks exploded outside, louder than before. Cheers echoed from distant streets. My phone lit up with New Year messages from people I barely spoke to anymore. And then someone knocked again. This time, the door handle turned. Slowly. I jumped up and screamed, grabbing the knife. The handle stopped moving. For a second, I thought it was over. Then the knocking resumed. Not on the door. On the wall. Behind me, 3 knocks. Directly from inside my apartment. I spun around. The wall behind the couch was solid. No doors. No vents. Just old paint and faint cracks. 3 knocks again. From inside the wall. I backed away until I hit the door, my breathing out of control. The knocking moved, traveling along the wall, following me, stopping only inches from where I stood. A voice spoke again, this time muffled, like it was trapped behind layers of concrete. Wrong year, wrong door. The lights flickered violently. When they steadied, the apartment felt different, colder. The air smelled damp, like old basements and rusted pipes. The TV turned on by itself, showing static. Shapes flickered inside the noise, forming faces for brief moments before disappearing. My phone rang. Unknown number. Against every instinct, I answered. The voice on the other end sounded exactly like mine. Same tone, same breathing. It said, "You didn't leave." I dropped the phone. The knocking stopped. Complete silence. I stood there for what felt like hours, unable to move. Eventually, I forced myself to open the door. The corridor was lit again. Empty, but something was wrong. The apartment numbers on the doors were different. The carpet pattern had changed. The walls looked freshly painted. Even the smell was different. I walked down the corridor slowly, my footsteps echoing unnaturally loud. At the end of the hallway, where the stairwell should have been, there was a wall, a blank wall, with a message written on it in black marker. "Welcome to December 31st. My phone buzzed again in my hand. This time, the message wasn't text. It was a photo, a picture of me, standing in the corridor, looking directly at the camera, taken from behind. I don't know how long I stood there staring at that photo. My mind refused to accept what my eyes were seeing. The angle was wrong. Too close. Too deliberate. Whoever took it was standing right behind me when the picture was captured. But I was alone. I turned slowly, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it might crack my ribs. The corridor behind me stretched farther than it had before, the lights flickering unevenly, casting long, warped shadows that didn't match my movements. The building felt wrong, like it was no longer following the rules it used to. I walked back toward my apartment, counting the doors as I passed them. The numbers were inconsistent. Some skipped entirely. Others repeated. My door was no longer at the end of the corridor. It was right in the middle. The number plate read 31. I don't remember my hands shaking as much as I remember how heavy the silence felt. Even the fireworks outside had stopped. It was like the world had paused just for me. 12 a.m. It didn't change. I stepped inside and closed the door. The lock clicked louder than usual, echoing unnaturally. My phone buzzed again. Another photo. This one showed my apartment door from the inside. Taken just seconds ago. A new message followed. "You're early." My breathing turned shallow. I asked again who they were. This time, I got a reply instantly. "I'm what stays when the year doesn't." The temperature dropped suddenly. I could see my breath. The walls began to hum softly, like something massive was moving behind them. I pressed my ear against the wall near the couch. Breathing. Dozens of breaths. Layered. Overlapping. I pulled away as cracks spread across the paint, thin lines crawling outward like veins. The knocking returned. Stronger now. Not just from one spot, but everywhere. The ceiling. The floor. The walls. My phone rang again. I answered without thinking. "Why me?" I asked, my voice breaking. There was a pause. Then the voice said calmly, "Because you were alone when the year changed." The lights went out. Complete darkness. Something moved behind me. I ran for the door, fumbled with the lock, my hands slipping in panic. The knocking stopped all at once, replaced by footsteps inside the apartment. Slow, heavy, intentional. I felt breath against my neck. "Turn around," the voice whispered. I didn't. I couldn't. A hand touched my shoulder. It was cold, not like skin, but like stone left outside in winter. My reflection appeared in the dark TV screen, in front of me, except it wasn't just me. Someone stood behind me. Same height, same hair, same clothes, same face. It smiled when I did not. "You didn't leave," it said, using my voice. So I did. The room bent inward. The walls stretched, pulling away like rubber. The knocking became deafening, shaking the floor beneath my feet. I screamed as the thing behind me pushed forward, merging with my reflection, pulling me backward into the dark screen. And then, silence. I woke up on my couch. Morning light streamed through the curtains. Birds chirped outside. My phone buzzed with notifications, New Year messages, missed calls, reminders. The clock on the wall read January 1st, 8:14 a.m. Everything was normal. Too normal. I checked my phone gallery. No strange photos. No unknown messages. Relief washed over me, shaky and incomplete. I went to work that afternoon. No one looked surprised to see me. No one asked questions. My desk was exactly where it should be. But something felt wrong. People avoided eye contact. Whispers followed me through the corridors. I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror and froze. For just a second, my smile didn't match my eyes. That evening, as I walked home, fireworks debris littered the streets. Torn banners, empty bottles. The celebration already forgotten. I unlocked my apartment door. Inside, on the table, sat a small digital clock. It glowed red. 11:58 p.m. I checked my phone. January 1st. But the clock kept counting down. A message appeared on my screen. Next year. From inside the walls, something began to knock. 3 times.